Okay, so like this this manga I'm reading is called Boys Abyss. All I'm gonna say is just this jump went from like to somewhat wholesome to downright toxic within like a few chapters, bruh. So like the manga kicks off with the main character Reiji is zoned out in class watching this idol singing. When he's in class, you can kind of tell like something's off with him. Like, bro, the very first few things he said was he's never gonna leave his city, and the only reason why he won't leave his city is because his mother and his grandma. And you can kind of tell, like, just from these first few panels, like, that junk is really taxing on him because he doesn't look like someone that's actually happy. He just looks like someone that's just accepted suffering and reality. I don't know how the artist did it. Maybe that's just me tripping or whatnot. But so after this, he gets on the bus, and when he's on the bus, he's still listening to the singers he was listening to. When he's listening to him, one of his friends, like one female friend, is basically chopping it up with him and telling him, like, hey, man, you like listening to the guy? That's actually the girl's name. And he's like, yeah, man, you know, she fine, you know, and whatnot. So then they get off the bus, pretty much just talking about how life is going and how being born in the Doonies is kind of wild. And they just, you know, they just steady conversating, you know, just things that friends do. And at the end, his friend is just like, I know you don't want to leave this city, but I know you got a lot going on at home, but your life is your life. Was that some real stuff to tell your friend, though? Because he actually kind of needed that. After this, they standing over this bridge and whatnot, and they start talking about how it's called Lover's Abyss. Lover's Abyss, the origins of it was basically two people that was in a relationship. They both decided to both take a nap in the lake. Ever since then, everybody kind of, you know, looks at the bridge and all. So then he heads over to the store, and when he heads to the store, he sees like these, you know, 4 little delinquent badass little kids, and it turns out that he's pretty much been being used by them to buy cigarettes, which outrageous to me. So after that, you know, he gets home, and the first thing he has to do is help his mom with his grandma, because, you know, grandma diaper been leaking and whatnot, and he gets down on one knee, wipes it up. After this, his mom basically telling like, hey man, if it wasn't for you, I'd die if you weren't here. He walks outside. Now, I ain't gonna lie, just off of his mom early on, his mom low-key is messed up for doing this. Like, you know your son is going through it, but then you're just like gonna guilt trip him like, yeah man, if it wasn't for you, I'd be dead, so stick around so I don't die. Bro, this character, like, this dude Reiji be suffering in silence because he's invisible to everybody. He's small, he gets picked on. Nobody really understands him for real. He kind of just walks through life expecting to not be heard or understood. So when he step outside, he goes back to that bridge, and he's just standing over the bridge, and he that man, like, he's contemplating it, but then he, you know, he don't do it. So he turns around and heads to the store. When he heads there, he sees the same girl at the counter outside, and when she goes outside, she hands this what seems to be a homeless dude the expired food. So when he sees her by herself, he walks over, you know, they conversate for a little bit, and she was like, hey man, you want a cigarette? Which is wild to me. So she hands him a Marlboro, gives him the cigarette, and she lights it for him. And when she lights it, it turns out that the woman that was working in the store is actually the girl that he was listening to on the bus earlier that day. Crazy, right? So they conversate and chop it up for a little bit, and she basically tells him to keep it a secret, and she tells him, hey, you want to show me around the city, because I'm not from here. He gets mad excited. He's like, you know what, yeah, I got you. You know what, yeah. She said, come back within an hour. So he heads back home, right? See his mom sitting on the corner of the house, and I guess she was outside because it was earlier revealed that his brother is like a shut-in, and all he do is play games, sleep, and yell at his mama, which is wild to me, bro. Like, I ain't going like that. Man, I miss my bro. Man, no. So after him and his mom chopping it up, she tells him, hey, Genshi's father want to hire you as a construction worker when you graduate. His wife had told me that when I ran into her. Reiji didn't know much about it, and he was just like, but that's physical labor though. And she was like, but yeah, that's exactly why it'd be a secure job for you. Like, damn. Reiji leaves, pulls up to the girl and the guy on the bike, and they riding through the city, and he's showing her around. They having a good time, and he's riding down the street, and he sees the same kids from earlier. He turns the bike around, which kind of bothers him, and the guy picks up on that. So after this, they walking and talking, and she's like, hey man, I'm the people that you had bought tobacco for earlier. And this is when he kind of starts to vent to her a little bit about what be going on and how he can't leave the city and people that be messing with him. And she asked him like, why would you tell me all of this when you just met me? And he said, well, because you definitely won't stay here. I won't ever forget that the guy rode on the back of my bicycle, and I'll take pride in it forever, is pretty much what he said word for word. Again, as they're walking, they're right back on this Lovers Abyss bridge again. And she also knows, so they go back and forth and have this conversation about the origins of the bridge. And then out of nowhere, this thing just takes a turn for the worse. She just openly goes, hey, Rage, you want to like take a nap in the lake together? Like, what? You know, he brushed it off, right? He just like, oh, she must be tripping. And then she turns around and goes, I mean, it's like, you might as well. It's not like your life going nowhere. And she's like, it'd be a perfect send-off, man. Look, a high schooler and his idol taking a nap in the lake together, man, that'd be fun, man. Like, look, we'll be trending for a little bit. So at this point, he can kind of tell that she actually listens and understands him, because she basically did what pretty much nobody in his life has done, understand him. But she's going about this in a very messed up way. So before they decide to go take a nap in the lake, she says, hey man, hey, drop by my house so we can do, a little something before we go do that. They head over to the house and he's showering. He can't believe what he got going on. Like, he can't believe that he really finna, go crazy on her. So he steps out the shower and she's wearing the exact thing that she wears when she's, performing. So, they lay down in the bed. He ain't never really done this before, so he don't really know too much. And then out the blue, just like everybody, bro, that motherfucker down you, bro. His third arm just wasn't arming it that day. And that's so understandable, because everybody done been in a situation where you finally get to this point and you're not ready to rumble. So they sit up and conversate and talk, and she basically tells him that she was 20. He's 17. That's crazy. So they conversating a little bit more, and she basically asks him like, what kind of person did you expect me to be? And he pretty much said, like, I expected you to be a person. As corny as that sound, that was probably the realest thing he could have said, because so far, if you look at the guy's character, she's aware that people don't like her for her. They like her because of the character. And since, just like how she understood him, she sees that he understands her. So now they got this little connection going on. So they finally lay back down and he goes crazy and whatnot. And he wakes up and he's looking at this tropical fish, and it's literally in the glass by itself. And that's actually how she got her name. And I think this is like heavy symbolism, because that fish is literally by itself, which is pretty much how she views herself. She asked him if he had want something to drink. And he was like, yeah, man, let me get in. Before he finishes what he's about to say, that same homeless dude from earlier walks in, and it turns out that this dude is actually her husband. Like, bro, that junk is so wild to me. Like, why would you do this to him? You already know this little boy going through stuff, and you just hit him with a bombshell. So, he gets scared and just jump up out there and run off. Cause like, while he's running, this man's mind is racing. He's like, bro, like, she's really married? Like, did that really just happen? I don't understand. Like, she done made this dude think about stuff that he had no business thinking about. And as he's running, he stops. And he realized he's on that exact same bridge that they said what they were gonna do after they had got done. He's thinking to himself like, man, that gotta be a joke. Like, ain't nobody really finna go through with that. So he go back home, and he really can't believe that shit. Dang, like, I really did something with her. So, he wake up, and he hears his alarm, and his mama and grandma going back and forth, and his mom is like, look, bro, grandma going to the retirement home. So they take grandma to the retirement home, right? And his mom, again, is guilt tripping this man like it's his fault, bro. Like, she's sitting there saying, like, my legs and body and neck hurt. Like, I wish I had it easier. Like, almost like it's his fault. That's crazy to me. He pretty much taking it in for himself. He literally said that once he starts working, everything gonna be all right, when that's really shouldn't be his responsibility. So while they talking, his mom's like, hey man, where that bicycle at? He's like, oh, the bike? Oh, you want me to go get it? But before he can even, here go old dude, the homeless dude, wasn't the guy's husband, pulls up on the bicycle, smoking a cigarette, just pedaling. And this man, Rage, look like he's seen a ghost. So bro pulls up and just like, hey man, what's up? But then he's talking to his mama. And then his mom's like, you actually know him? She's like, yeah, he was my classmate from middle school. And he's like, nah. Then, you know, the homeless dude is just like, I should probably like tell y'all what his name is. Yeah, Nazoe pulls up on him and is like, hey man, I can't give you your bike back, bro. And then instead of like telling the truth on why his bike was over there, he basically just lies and like, man, he lent me his bike when he was in a hurry, man. So I appreciate that. Then he gonna tell bro, thanks for yesterday. What is wrong with him? I don't know if this is cucking or what, but you cannot do stuff like this. So then he up and leave, and then they talk, and then his mom's like, hey, don't get involved with him, bro. He something up with him. It ain't mathing. So far, this has only been a few chapters, and I can already tell this dude is about to go through some of the most toxic stuff imaginable. But I'm probably just leave it here, because this is a little different for how I do my videos. But if a part 2 is needed, I'll do that. But other than that, I mean, video over, I guess.